Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Blueprint, where we take a look at and go a little bit more in depth into some features and ideas from the Connected Franchise Blueprint post. And today we're going to be talking about player cards. Now this isn't anything new or even an overhaul, really, just some slight tweaking to improve on what's already there. There will be some new stuff in here, but for the most part, like I said, it's going to be taking a lot of what's already there and either transitioning or tweaking that. And the reasoning behind that is when you're playing a CFM over the course of multiple seasons, there's a lot going on. Players are compiling stats each week and each year. New players are being drafted every off season. Players are constantly changing teams. Every year new players are winning awards, and all of this is being tracked within the game. And if you've watched some of my previous videos, you know that one of my constant gripes with CFM is how information is presented to you when it comes to what's going on around your league and how disconnected you end up feeling. And that's kind of the similar concept here. Let's say you're 10 years into your CFM. You can go to any player on any roster and look at their player card, and you're going to have a bunch of information, but a lot of that information is missing context. You have a player's draft information, but you don't know who he was drafted by. You have his career stats, but you don't know who he played on in any of those seasons. You have some details, but the reality is that you're missing the story and the path of that player. So I'm just going to go through some old mock-ups as well as a couple new ones to show some of the tweaks and improvements that I'd like to see that would make the player card better. Starting off with the general player bio, you'll notice a few things different here in that you're getting a bit more information. In addition to height, weight, age, years pro, college, and the attributes, you're also getting the player's draft info, which includes the year they were drafted, the round, pick, and the team that they were taken by. In addition to that, there is also a slot that shows how a player ended up on their current team. And then lastly is the player's contract, which could also be tweaked to show years left to be a bit more relevant. Outside of showing how a player was acquired, there's nothing really new here. It's just more about bringing that information forward so you don't have to button through menus to find it. Moving on here to the career stats section of the player card. Again, the idea here is to have this as part of the player card so you don't have to button through menus to find it. But the most important part of this is showing which teams a player played for in those seasons. This part of the player card should basically read exactly like the back of a normal football card would. And then along the bottom there, I thought it would be cool if you also got a quick glance at how a player stacked up in the all-time rankings for their position's main stat categories. And then also the player's legacy score is there as well. So again, not too much changing, just some slightly new additions and then bringing that relevant information forward rather than having to go through menus to find it. Along similar lines, here is an older mock-up where you get to see a player's game logs. This has similar issues as the career stats section, where this is currently tracked in-game, but there's no indication of who was played in each of those games, so it makes things a kind of confusing. And then also here you'll see if a player misses games, it would show why they were missed, if that was due to injury. So again, along the lines of giving context with that information that you're getting. It'd be cool if these were also able to be tracked over multiple seasons as well, so you could go back and look back on specific seasons and games from those seasons over time as well. I'm going to run through this one kind of quick because this actually isn't in the game, but if player morale was to ever be in the game, then this is how it could look on the player card. As you can see though, with the contract section here, this is for player morale, but you're getting a lot of useful information that you'd otherwise have to hunt for, and that's the constant theme you're going to hear from me. I think part of what makes CFM overwhelming for a lot of people is that you have all this information and things going on, but if you want to know about it or find out about it, you have to pretty much go on a scavenger hunt through menus to find that. And again, here with the player role section of player morale, it just shows depth chart position, games started, snaps played out of total team snaps. So there's nothing really groundbreaking about the type of information given here. It's just presenting usable information to the player card rather than, like I said, having to go through menus to find that. Here's another new mock-up using the actual Madden layout. So again, here you're going to see a lot of stuff that actually isn't in the game. To the right there, you get a layout of a player's medical ratings, and for the mock-ups, basically that consists of different durability ratings for body parts as well as the overall injury rating and then season stamina. To the left, you get a player's injury history, which I think is something that could be tracked within Madden now without too much trouble, but it's hard to say. The difference there is that you're also seeing how a player's durability has changed over his career due to each injury. And then in the bottom left, you're getting a look at any current injuries the player has or is playing through, as well as the recovery timetable and any ratings changes caused by that injury. Moving on here to awards, this is an older mock-up where I actually included awards that a player won in college. This was originally more geared to being something that could play into scouting, but I also thought it would be cool for existing players as well. Here's a new mock-up using the Madden layout where you can see how many times a player has won certain awards. So as you can see here, there's a tile for each of the awards won and how many times the player has won them, or in the case of one-time awards, you just get the year that the award was won. From this, you could do something where you're able to click on those tiles and get more information on that award. If you follow me on Twitter, you might remember the weekly award mock-ups I was doing during the season, and that's basically what you'd be getting by clicking on one of those tiles. Just a quick shot of their weekly stats if the award was a player of the week, or if the player made the Pro Bowl or won an award based on season accomplishments, then you'd get his season stats to basically just give you a backstory as to how he won that award without having to research it. And then lastly here is the transactions section, which goes back to what I was talking about earlier and throughout this entire video, in that if you're in multiple seasons in CFM and you look at other teams' rosters, you have no idea how Carson Wentz might have ended up on the Bills, or how Long Tootin went from undrafted free agent and cut by 6 teams to becoming the highest paid corner in NFL history. Every player has a backstory, and seeing that information tracked and displayed and being able to see that for not only the players that you're attached to, but also the players that you're likely not following as closely, is something that I personally think is cool and goes a long way with immersion, and basically just helps with that feeling that you're in a living world within your CFM. I'm gonna wrap it up here though, but chances are I likely forgot something, so if you guys have anything else that I missed or that you'd like to see on the player card, let me know in the comments. Also let me know if you like or don't like the idea of any additional information I showed here, as well as any of the tweaks that I suggested. I'm not sure what the next What the Franchise video is going to cover, but in the next Beyond the Blueprint, I'll be taking a look at a concept dealing with the NFL's top 100 list with some new mock-ups in that video as well. Like I said though, that's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, thanks for watching.